Before you click off this video, just tell me one thing. Your last vacation, how much did it cost? Not sure? Well, okay. How much did your flights cost? Your hotel? How much did you spend in food, snacks, activities? I'm willing to bet that you might not know the exact amount. And that makes you just like most people. You probably only remember that it cost way more than you thought it was going to. And that was me too. The thing is, you don't go over budget at the end of your trip. You were over budget the whole time. You just didn't know it yet. In the last video, I showed you how I fixed my planning problem. Today, in this video, we're going to talk about how I fixed my spending problem. And at the end of the video, I'm going to reveal the one thing for our Japan-China trip that I am still absolutely afraid is going to blow our budget wide open. But it'll be worth it. I hope. All right, so if you're still here, thanks. That's awesome. And let's get budgeting. Woo! We're going to budget based on the current trip that we're going on. But of course, numbers fluctuate all the time. So please don't look at these numbers and think that this is what your trip's going to look like. It's just what our trip happens to look like at this moment in the budgeting process. So let's get to it. So first thing we've got, just like in our last video, is we have a start here section where we're going to put in the information. The information on the trip is the same as it was for last time, so we've pre-filled it. And if you are using the Ultimate Itinerary Planner, this information can transpose over very, very easily. They're essentially the same. So as you can see, we've got the trip name, we've got our departure and arrival date, and then the most important part, that trip budget. Obviously, because this is the budgeting tool, that base amount is going to be the most important number that you're going to enter here today. Make sure that it's a good, relatively accurate number that represents what you actually have the ability to spend on this trip. The other important thing that you're going to put in is your base currency, the currency that you are planning in, and that is going to allow the spreadsheet to convert to other currencies or from other currencies, and you'll see that as we go on. Other information like your destination cities and such like that are just going to help the tool give you better information as we move forward. Once you've finished entering the information, we're going to head over to the budget sheet and start entering information there. So, like I mentioned before, here is the budgeting sheet, and we're going to start down at the bottom first because this is the more important part. So as you can see, we've filled out a bunch of information, and you'll also notice that not everything is in my base currency. So there are some things, like some accommodations, that I know I'm going to be paying in Japanese yen. And I have actually put the price down in there in yen, changed the currency to Japan, and the spreadsheet has calculated out the actual cost in my base currency for me. So as you're entering information here, the most important parts are going to be the category and the item number. The categories is what the summaries use when it's doing its calculations to make sure that your items get into the right place. The item, of course, just helps you to know what the thing actually is that you're paying for. So you'll notice that we've got accommodations, activities, flights, insurance, local transportation, and then we budgeted food a little bit differently. Food to me is a little bit of a different budgeting item because you never know exactly what you're going to buy from day to day when you're out there doing food, but you do need to have a food budget. So what we've done is we've done our food out by day so that we know we have X amount of money per day to spend on food. So when we do our expenses later on, we just put the category in as food, and it will take money off of that daily portion for food without us having to budget for specific items. Now, if you know that you're going to do some sort of food experience, like a food tour or something like that, you can definitely put that in there under the food category. But for our sake, we've just done it per day. So once you've got your items in, you're going to see that your top area is going to start to show some numbers, which is exactly perfect. So we've got our total budget at the top, we've got our actual spend, we've got our budgeted total spend, we've got what we've actually committed to so far, our worst case scenario. So this is the amount that we'll have left if we spend everything plus 10%. And we have our remaining actual from our budget. We also have our utilization, budgeted, and actual. And those are going to follow you from page to page so that you can always see at a glance exactly where you are. So let's go over to expenses and see how we're going to deal with those. So as you can see over here, we've got our expenses sheet. And I've put one expense in just so that we can see some actual expenses going in, but let's show you how this works. So let's say today I prepaid for something that is on our budget. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put today's date in here. I'm going to choose the category. So you can leave the expense ID. It will auto-populate that in a second. We're going to say it's an activity. And once you've chosen the category, you're going to go to budget link. Now the budget link is actually what's pulling information over from the budget side. So you can see it has actually pulled up a list of all the activities that we already have. So let's just say we paid for the Ninja Dojo. We can stick it in there. You'll see it's pre-filled in there. We can say the location. So you can see the location that is brought up has come from our list of locations that we have. So we know this one was going to be in Kyoto. And let's say we paid $300 for it. So you will see as we put over, now our information in our summary is starting to change. Now we can say this is fully paid or not. And the reason that's important, obviously, is if this was a deposit or something like that, then we need to keep the rest in there. In this case, we're going to say it's fully paid. We're going to say we paid by credit card. We're going to say that we have our receipt and it's electronic. Now, if this was a business trip, you can actually add how much of that expense is actually for the business or not. If you're not doing a trip, you can just get rid of that column. But I thought I'd try and make this a little bit more useful for those of you who might use this for a business trip as well. You're welcome. And of course, if you have any notes as well there. If you don't have something from the budget link, that's okay. You're still going to add your category. Let's say this was local transport. You're just gonna give the item a name. Let's say it was buying a JR pass. You can still give it a city that you bought it in. Let's say we did that in Kyoto, and let's say it was for $150, and away you go. So as you can see, as you add your information here, your budget starts to change and adjust. So easy as you can see. But of course, if you're watching this, you're the type of person who wants more information and you want to see exactly how your trip is shaping up financially. And I'm that type of person too, so I built it. Let's go over to our trip summary. So here's where you can see the full trip summary. So as you can see, we have everything in the expense by categories, our flights, accommodations, food, down right through the list. We have our budget. Now, this is something that you are going to enter yourself, and it's just going to be based on what you think you're going to be spending per category. Just make sure that this total equals your trip budget at the top. If not, then you're going to have to adjust a little bit. We have our tentative spend. That tentative spend is based on the budget. It just takes the total of each category and sticks it in here so you can see what you've tentatively planned to spend. And the first calculation is if you spend everything that you have budgeted, how much are you going to have left? Next, how much you've actually spent. I don't think I need to explain that one. Then your total trip commitment. Now the total trip commitment is how much you've paid plus how much you still have budgeted in order to spend. The worst case is if you spend everything in that budgeted category plus about 10%. This is your worst case. And then of course, the actual amount you have remaining out of that budget. So you can see all those numbers there. They give you exactly where your trip is budget-wise without having to guess, wonder, go back. If you're not happy with one of these numbers, it's just as easy as going back into your budget and adjusting the numbers so that you are happy with them. If you realize that this trip is too expensive, well, I guess your options are to add more money to your budget or to remove things, but at least you know. So as you can see, we've got a pretty comprehensive trip coming up. We've got lots of activities, lots of numbers there. And as you can see, we've got a pretty tight budget. One of the places that we plan on going that I am still afraid is going to blow our budget wide open is Nagashima Spa Land. Yes, that's right. We are going to the home of Steel Dragon 2000 to ride Steel Dragon 2000. Now, I know that so many people now when they go to Japan, they want to go to Universal Studios Japan or Disney Sea, etc., etc. But you know what? There are other places to go still that are a little bit more, I don't know, authentic Japan. And Nagashima Spa Land is one of those places. We're going to check it out. And it is in our budget. But you know where I'm afraid it's going to blow our budget? The food and other expenses, because I'm sure that the food there is going to be more expensive than we probably realize, and I'm sure that the kids are probably going to want some things when we get there, souvenirs, etc. But you know what? It is one of those things that will definitely be worth it in the end. And hey, we get to see how one of Japan's local theme parks compares to our local theme park here, Callaway Park. Of course, Callaway Park here doesn't have a Steel Dragon 2000, but you know what? I bet you both parks probably still have that little more homey local feel, and that's what we're going to see. So there you have it, another part of our trip revealed, and you've seen another tool that we use to plan our trips that we've made available to you on our website. If you check out thewandercrew.org/gear, you can grab the Ultimate Planning Toolkit. That includes this budgeting spreadsheet, the itinerary planner, packing list, and the travel binder system with documents for you to use on your trip. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this and learned something new. We are super excited as our trip is coming up. And next week, we're going to go into some more planning tips and tricks that we are using when we plan our Japan-China trip that we hope you'll use too. But until then, keep exploring.